So tell me if you relate to this. You have a big event that's coming up. You have, Christmas parties and work obligations, and you have all of these secret Santas to get ready for, and these corporate Christmas parties to show up to, and you know deep down that you're dreading every second of this because, one, you might not actually connect with anyone there. Two, like, they're not your people, and it doesn't make them bad people. It's just they're not your people. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Meshi with Path to Wellness with Meshi. I wanted to share with you a few of my tips that I have for you when it comes to these upcoming holiday season of how you can energetically shield yourself when it comes to just being around a lot of negative people or being around people that you might not connect with. So I thought that I would shoot this quick video for you, and hopefully you will find it helpful and it will serve you in the best possible way that it can. So if you wanted to check out a few of my tips that I have here for you, then just stay tuned and let's get started with the video. How do we go from that stuck place where you're dreading, this event is coming up. I mean, it's been in your calendar for weeks. I mean, you know it. Your husband has been telling you about it, and then he seems excited, so you don't want to be a jerk and just tell him, like, listen, man, I really don't want to go. This is your deal, not mine. I don't really need to be there. But then you want to be supportive. What do we do? What do we do at that point where, and you've had those parties before. You've had those get-togethers. You've had those birthdays or those, summer barbecues where you go and you're dreading, like, even 1 minute of being at that place has been too long, and you're looking at your watch like, is it done yet? So what do we do? How do we shield ourselves, and how do we not get sucked into the negative comments and just the little remarks that can really just feel like, like dying by 1,000 paper cuts? What can we do really? And how can we get through this? And I really don't want to use the word get through this or suffer through this, because really, like, I'm sorry you're not suffering. I found for myself that the first place that I need to start with is with myself. I cannot control anybody else, obviously. I can only control how I react. So a few of the things that have helped me is, number one, I needed to witness my own emotional and internal dialogue when it comes to these events. How do I really feel? And what am I actually putting on loop inside my head that I'm telling myself that that's the truth? And in what way am I making myself the victim in this when really nothing has happened yet? In reality, if I'm staying in the present moment, then nothing bad has happened. Yet in my mind, I'm building up a defense mechanism for something that I'm anticipating that will happen. So the first thing that I've done is I needed to witness it for what it was. For me personally, I witnessed it on my meditation pillow, but I also witnessed it when I just created just a moment of silence, and I really saw how I was speaking about these events, how I was like not looking forward to it. Those were my active choices of how I was choosing to really show up to anything and around those people that I'm going to be spending time with. And I also needed to forgive that thought, and I needed to forgive myself for having that thought, for having that belief system that somehow I made myself the victim, when really I don't need to be victimized because I'm not a victim. I needed to learn how to release it. So how do we release this? How do we, when you're witnessing that you have this negative loop of internal chatter going on, that you're already telling yourself that this is going to be terrible, and these people are going to be so rude, and why are they making these comments, and what's going on, and they're just out to get me and out to attack me, and they don't understand. Well, the moment that you start saying things like that to yourself, and the moment that I started doing that for myself, I realized that I'm not only making myself the victim, I would basically gather people around me so that I can throw a nice little pity party, which gets nowhere. And honestly, I was just lowering my own vibrational level. I cannot look like a complete hypocrite because on one hand, I'm advocating for increasing your vibration, creating positive energy and putting that positive energy out into the world. And then on the other hand, with my own actions, I was just basically creating this negative loop of garbage that I was telling myself. And I was actively ruining not only the relationship with the people that are the closest to me, but I was also ruining my own experience and not allowing a different outcome. So I needed, for one, step one was for me is to witness it. Step one is always witness that level of judgment that you have amongst other people, and just like that internal chatter. Is it a positive one? Is that constructive? Is it helping? If it's not, then it was time to forgive that thought and then choose differently and really just learn how to let that go. And then I needed to release it. So how do we do that? For me personally, before I even arrived at these events, I visualized myself being there. And I visualized myself having that dinner and having those conversations. And I visualized how I actually wanted to show up. I saw myself have those conversations, and I saw that I chose to shift the energy of what I was bringing forward. And when I visualized it, it became real for me, and it was a lot easier for me to tap into that. And I realized that if I'm hanging on to negative vibes, then I'm actually taking my own energy away for like no reason. I needed to also, it's not last, but I needed to create proper boundaries. So to me, I realized that this was a barrier, like this was a boundary issue, because I allowed too many outside sources to come in to really validate what I'm doing, validate who I am, validate what I stand for, and really I'm just waiting for other people and other circumstances to validate who I am and what I do, instead of knowing who I am, knowing what I do, knowing that what my true intentions are with the work that I'm creating. And I kind of just lovingly let other people do whatever they need to do without really true attachment of I need other people's validation in order for me to feel whole. You actually don't need other people's validation. All you have to do is just raise your vibration and have an inner knowing and connect to something greater than you, so that you know that one, you're supported, and two, you don't need external validation for you to feel like the work that you're doing or the things that you're doing or the things that you stand for are positive. Last but not least, I had to create a virtual barrier, and I usually do that in my own practice as well whenever I'm massaging, but then I also needed to do the exact same thing with all of these different gatherings that, again, it could be like a birthday party or a family gathering, or like whatever the case may be. Whenever I'm around a lot of people that they're not close to me, or I know that them and me, we don't really resonate, I needed to create a barrier where it kind of comes to my wrist. So you can have this, but you're not getting to me, you're not getting to my heart, you're not getting to my head, you're not getting inside my head, you're just not, we're creating that virtual barrier that says this is as far as you are allowed to go. And you can see yourself create sort of like that virtual barrier that emotionally and physically protects you, because in that way you know how much you need to allow other people to come in or to not come in. And the last thing that I've done that I think will serve you is just pray for a different outcome. Pray for something greater than you to allow you to see the circumstances, allow you to see that event or that conversation or that connection, allow it to see it differently. And when you do, it's like you're seeing something or you're experiencing something for the first time. And if you wanted to dive deeper in that, I will be sharing a practice that has helped me tremendously, and that's going to be coming up later on in the series. But for now, I hope that this has served you. I wanted to share this with you because as we're moving into the holiday season, it's going to be very important for you, especially if you're an empath, if you're sensitive, if you're prone to anxiety and overwhelm. Then I think that just being more proactive in managing your own energy, I think, will serve you quite tremendously. So I hope that you find this helpful and useful. If you are brand new here, consider subscribing. I do share a video every Tuesday, Thursday, and once on the weekend, so it could be a Saturday or a Sunday. And I share everything between anxiety and stress management, just like this one. I share some spiritual practices and rituals. We talk a little bit about eco-living, how to reduce your consumption. Overall, our main theme is just to make you feel more empowered so that you can live a more intentional life. Now, because I do share a few videos a week, you might be wondering like what's sort of going to be coming up next and when I'm sharing your favorite topic. So what I have done to help you out is I usually send out a weekly recap email on Sundays that shows the best takeaways from each of my videos. And also I share what's going to be coming up for the following week. So if that sounds good to you and you wanted to get on that list, I left the link down in the description so you can sign up for free. And in the meanwhile, just keep shining your light and know that you are more powerful than you think. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you guys again in my next video. Bye.